Turn your phone into a DSLR? Let's check all this out. Smile! All right, so what the heck am I looking at? Well, I'm looking at the Pictar Pro Grip Charge on the bottom, and I'm looking at the Pictar Smart Light on the top. So it's going to make a little more sense if I do these as two separate items. So let's put the Smart Grip aside for a minute, and I'll just show you the light. This is a little LED light, and it's actually really pretty slick. As you can see in this close-up on the edge, there are bars that show you your battery charge, an on-off switch, and the ability to make it brighter or softer. But not only that, it has a diffuser plate you can take on or off, and it comes with, admittedly, an extremely flimsy gel that you can put on, and then you put the diffuser on top, and now you have an even different color. But even as I did that, it's not really centered, so I have to actually do that again because the gel is, I guess it's like a sort of a photographic gel, but I'm even having problems with static electricity on my fingers. So let's get that. There we go. Now it's in the right position, and now I have the ability to change the color. Now, this is really great for portraits and selfie work, because if you want to take a selfie and you have a bright background behind you, like a sunset or something, using something like this as a fill flash is an obvious win. Now, it's not just this slick little device, and it has a 2-hour battery life. It's a 2350 milliamp hour battery, so you can keep it on, and obviously it'll last longer at lower brightness, but you can keep it on for a couple hours. And then it comes with these two little mounts. Now they have what these called a cold shoe. So if you remember old DSLRs, they had hot shoes so that the camera could communicate with the light. This is not like that. This is not an external flash. This is an external light. So slightly different. I can use this little tiny guy, and it does give you the ability to bend it a little bit. So I can use this, or I can use the larger camera holder, or I should say phone holder. Let me pull my phone out of here, hopefully without calling, what's going on here? Without calling 911, which is what iPhones tend to do if you leave them. So now I can assemble all these pieces. So I can put the shoe on the top. Let's see, oh, from the other side. I can put the shoe on the top, screw it on, screw my light on, and then slip my phone in here, and these expand, which is nice, so it's really easy to work with. So now I want to, let's see, my lens is here, my flash is here, or my light is here, I should say, so I can do this with only some level of awkwardness. Now I'm ready to roll, and I can use my phone, or I could even spin this around by just doing this. And now if I want to take a selfie, I can take a selfie with the illumination, or obviously I can do something like this too, depending on the angle. And then since you can bend it, I can point it and bend it slightly more towards the subject of the composition. So this is a really cool little light. The only thing that I will say is that that gel is problematic, and I wish they would have just used a thicker gel. Now, this might be a perfectly fine photographic level gel, but since you're going to be outdoors in the field, most likely when you're using this, the fact that it is so flimsy will inevitably have you end up either losing it or damaging it to the point where you can't use it any further. So then you're left with this. Now, this is not bad, and it still gives you a nice, bright, and adjustable light source, which is definitely worthwhile. This whole setup is really slick, and it has not only a tripod mount on the bottom, but it has one on the back too. So if you have, I guess, a tripod that you have like one of the gripper ones that you can put on a pipe or something, and then you can put your camera literally, or sorry, your phone literally in front like that, right? And then now you can see you have this whole terrific setup. So that's really nice. So I'm going to give you all the prices at the end because really this is cool, but the sort of centerpiece of this is this. This is the Pictar Pro Grip Charge. And it basically lets you put your phone in and act as if your phone is a DSLR, or digital single lens reflex camera. Now, I have spent many happy hours taking photos with my own DSLRs. I've had various Nikons, and before that I had a Konica. So definitely know what that's like. My daughter has a top-end Canon, so they still take better pictures than your phone does, but the phones are catching up. So this is an iPhone 12 Pro, and once I unlock it, the system comes with a paired app, and it's very interesting because it communicates with your phone via ultrasonics, which is cool because it doesn't need Bluetooth or Wi-Fi or anything. But it's also problematic because the biggest issue that I had with the Pro Grip controller is that not every action I took was registered in the app, and that proves to be super frustrating. So the app you can get for Android or iOS, it's called ingeniously Pictar, and these gives you 4 functions on the grip itself. So in the front you have a zoom forward and backward, and they sort of doubled up every single control, which was another mistake. Trying to get so much functionality, it ends up being really confusing. So this gives you zooming in and out, but if you push it, you can then adjust the zoom settings. There's a shutter button if you push it halfway, if you push it and hold it, if you push it quickly. All of those do different things. Just give me a button I push and take a picture, right? Nice and easy. Then on the top, the other 2, one of them is the exposure control, which you can just spin back and forth. And the other one is the smart wheel, which does different things depending on what mode you're in. You want to do wireless charging? It can do that too by pushing both of them at the same time, and you really got to time that perfectly. So now I'm wirelessly charging my phone while it's in here, which is pretty cool. So if I push it again, then that turns that feature off, so I can save the battery for this unit itself. Obviously that's the Qi wireless charging is how that works. And then this also has, there's a lot going on here. It has the cold shoe mount, so if I want to use this light, as you saw at the very beginning, I can simply slide it onto here. It doesn't go very far in, which is a little disconcerting, so you definitely will want to tighten it up. But now I have my light ready to go with the DSLR setup. So 2 separate products at 2 separate prices. Important to know. The grip does have a tripod mount on the bottom, which is really nice, and they've really engineered it well. There's actually a big cutout on the end, so if you need to plug in an external microphone, for example, you can do that. It's all accessible and it's all easy to get to. So let me go ahead and start the app, and you'll see what I'm going to do is I'm going to screen capture the app and show that as an inset, as you'll be able to watch me take a couple of pictures. So that means, let's see, I need to get things working. That's there. Okay. So now, hopefully you're seeing what's on screen, and you can see now I can zoom in and zoom out. Nope, I can't. See, this is part of what's really frustrating with this device. Let's see if that does it. Nope. So it's really pretty erratic whether or not things work. And I've found that I sometimes have to actually, I think I might have my phone in too far. Let's see, does that help? Nope. I find that I have to quit the Pictar app and start it again. So let's try that. So I'm gonna quit the app and then we'll start it again. And now it shows you there are 4 different modes from which you can choose, and you can always switch back and forth, but it gives you different functionality. I'll go into Pro, and now, see, now the zoom works. So that's a very good example of what's so challenging about this device, is that the engineering, the design, the concept, it's all really great, but the actual usage is a little bit frustrating. So now let's see, I can change exposure. You can see how it's getting darker, or I can go the other way and really super overexpose it if I'm so inclined. Not sure why I'd want to overexpose it, but you can really just like blow out the entire picture. Or I can get it back to, let's see, that looks right. And then this is our smart button. And now since I'm in pro mode, it's giving me manual or shutter priority or motion or macro, or you can go to movie. I can go to ISO if I want to use this one. And then maybe now with the ISO set, I'm going to go ahead and I can tap on the screen where it says ISO, and I can change it so that ostensibly I can force it to take a super fast photo to, for example, capture motion if I want to stop someone, a cat running past my camera, whatever, right? So you can do that, and then I can go and press mode, and you're seeing what I'm already doing, right? I'm touching the screen on my phone, not using the controls here. That is something that I've found actually seems to work a little better, which is again sort of indicative of the problem. But let's take a picture. Okay, so that was easy. I can also take a picture by tapping on the little blue button, which is actually quite handy. And then because Pictar has all these other things, they also have lenses. If you put on an external clip-on lens, you can choose which one you're using and it'll know how to adjust it. If I use this external light, let me turn it on. And now I can specify that I am using the light. So it doesn't do anything magic, it just knows to compensate for that additional light source. I can switch, so now I'm seeing myself. That's a really big thumb. Kind of hard to avoid that when your controls are right there. And of course I can get to the timer. So there's a lot of cool features in the app. There's a lot I really like about this. It's just the interface tends to be a little problematic. So let me get back to automatic and let me see. Let's try macro, and I have an interesting sort of die here. So let's go into macro mode, which I might or might not be able to find. Let's just leave it as automatic. Oh no, here's macro. Okay, maybe. Okay, what's happening here? There's macro. So now, theoretically, what macro should do is it should let me zoom in a lot and really focus tightly on this, right? So let's see how that works out. And then when I've got it just where I want, and I'm using the light, so there's my photo, and then I can view photos in the gallery. So I did pretty good without the tripod. It's obviously a little tricky to get your phone / DSLR setup to be super stable, but overall I think that's a pretty nice job. And I've gone into the photo. I can share from here, but let's try one more thing, and I'm going to just actually have the camera much closer to the table so I can balance it with my hand, and then I'm going to use that button there. I'm going to do it again, the blue button on the screen itself. And now let's have another look at that picture. And here's a close-up. You can see the iPhone 12 Pro did a great job. This lighting definitely improved things. You know, lots and lots to like here. I mean, there's a lot about this whole setup that is, I think, really pretty cool. But the biggest problem, let me just go ahead and turn off that recording. The biggest challenge that I have with this is that it has too many modes, it's too complicated, and there are modes you can get into where you don't know where you are and you don't know why. For example, the zoom button isn't working. So, you know, the fact that I have to quit the app and then start it again is just not good design. It should never have to have you do that. And then the second thing is that by using the ultrasonic communication between the phone and the Pro Grip Charge, it's a great idea. It's interesting to not use Bluetooth, but the fact that it doesn't actually work 100% of the time, every single time immediately, is really challenging, because you push a button and you want something to happen. You spin the dial and you want immediately some feedback. and it's just not there. Now, I should mention, while I'm at it, that there are some other things that come with the Pro Grip, and they are worth mentioning. So there's charging. It is a micro USB plug on the side. That's how you charge this thing up. And there's a little LED on the top that shows you when you push a button, it shows you a tiny little blue light. It also will quickly flash if it's telling you that you are approximately out of power or about to be out of power. There's this really interesting viewfinder that pops out. So they thought, well, what if you're doing all this and you are outside and it's really bright and you just don't have the ability to see what's on your screen? So that's going to definitely get in the way of using this device, right? So they've got a solution. So they have this, that this viewfinder pops out. It slides into a hole just below that cold shoe, and then you can do this because it takes all of the information in the app and squishes it into a smaller rectangle that fits inside here. So then with this shading, you can actually see outdoors in super bright light and still work with your phone. Really interesting idea. Really unfortunate that there's nowhere to store it or keep it when you're not actually using it. So I feel like either you're going to keep it in the little carrying bag, which is not a bad strategy, or you're going to lose it. Or you're not going to take it with you in the first place, and then you're going to regret it. So this is a very qualified, I don't even know if it's a recommendation. I think let's get to the price and then I'll give you some final thoughts. But before I get to the price, I'm going to ask if you can give me some feedback. Give me a thumbs up if you found this candor appreciative and useful. Give me some comments if you think there's other stuff you wish I would have demonstrated that I didn't. And go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you're so inspired. I appreciate that. So there are two parts that I'm looking at here. This is the Pictar Smart Light, and this one's a definite yes. This is something worth picking up. It's $49.99. You can pick it up at Amazon.com or PictarWorld.com. This one I really like. Only criticism I have of it is this film is really almost pointless. It is so thin and flimsy. But then when we get to the Pictar Pro Grip Charge, this just is a really challenging and somewhat frustrating device to try out. I love the concept. It feels really good. I love the idea that I can just push a button here and I'll be taking pictures and stuff. That's really neat. But in practice, as you saw, the software is a little problematic and the controls aren't in fact perfectly responsive, which leaves you wasting a lot of time going beyond what you wanted, trying to get back to where you wanted to get to, pushing buttons, spinning things, not knowing which dial's which. Can be something that's a little more gimmicky than useful. The wireless charging and everything, that's pretty helpful. Okay, this is the Pictar Pro Grip Charge. And with the charging capability, it's $199.99, discounted to $179.99 on their website. Without that wireless charging capability, it's $149.99, discounted to $129.99. So that's a pretty big range. So for $129, would I get this to add to my phone? I'm not sure I would. I definitely like the light, but this grip feels like maybe we need one more generation, or maybe they could give me the option of having it be Bluetooth paired. Even if it lowers my battery life, the fact that every single interaction, every single button, every single spin will be clearly, accurately, and immediately communicated to the software would be a win. Having said that, the software could do with being simplified. You don't need every single possible function, feature, and mode in the app. Give me a version where it just gives me a half dozen basic features. It makes it impossible for me to get into a mode where, for example, the zoom doesn't work, and then we can talk, because then it'll be a really cool addition. That's all I have. Sorry I'm not a little more upbeat about this, but I've spent a couple of days being really frustrated, just so you know. Other people have found it to work really well for them, so definitely read other reviews, check out other reviews here on YouTube, and leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. All right, that's all I got. I'm going to go back to taking some more pictures and trying to figure it all out, so I'll hope to catch you in my next video.